if you'll please rise for the pledge and remain standing for the invocation. Invocation this evening is Reverend Merlene Williams.
To lift up, Father, our leaders, to lift up our council and the city officials, Father. We ask you to grant them, my Father, protection and wisdom. Your word says that you give wisdom and understanding. So, Father, we ask you, Lord, for wisdom tonight. We ask you for clarity. We ask you, Father, that we unite as one body, as members one of another, that we work toward the community, Father, for the good of this community, Father. As we acknowledge all your blessings that you've given us, Father, we pray for the community to be spiritually, socially, and economically increasing. We pray, Father, that each and everything that we need, Father, to be viable, that you will grant us. We thank you for it. We bless your name. We come in no other name but the name of Jesus. We declare your word over this body. And we thank you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Mike, if you'll take the roll, please.
All right, Madam Mayor. Councilman Wurzbacher.
Present.
Councilman Lloyd.
Here.
Councilman Schlack.
Present.
Councilman Barr.
Here.
Councilman Valerius.
Here.
Councilman Nick.
Here.
And Mayor McLeod.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. May I have a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Valerius,
Second.
second by Mr. Wurzbacher. Any corrections or changes?
Yeah, so I'd like to ask, the clerk said that we were gonna adopt the budget tonight. Is that what you said?
Right, he,
And he didn't put it on here, but. I'm sorry? He didn't put it on here about adopting it?
Well, it's not that I didn't put it on, I just didn't note it. Like, when we had the hearing, then you adopt the budget. That's the whole purpose of the hearing.
well, to make it more formal, we can add to the agenda an item that says adopt the fiscal year 2026-2027 budget, because that's what I've seen on every agenda. And that comes after the public hearing, correct?
Yeah. And sorry, that's just how we always do it. You don't have to, I mean, but that's how we do it.
No, we just did
So
it
our-
in June, at the end of
so-
June last year. So
No, the one at the end of June was an amendment to the previous year's fiscal year. Budgets are always approved in May because of the charter. At any rate, Mr. Valerius and Mr. Wurzbacher, are you all right with adding the line to adopt the fiscal year budget?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Any other changes or corrections? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Agenda is approved. May I have a motion to approve the minutes from the regular meeting of April 28th?
motion.
Motion by Ms. Nick,
Second.
second by Mr. Barr. Any corrections? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes are approved. And now we will have a presentation of the fiscal year 2026-2027 proposed budget. Standing in for Mr. Lobb, who would rather be here,
Yes, he would.
is Mr. Murray.
Of course, everything went perfect when I said it.
Rehearsals are flawless.
Just need the last one, right? I told her, don't count your chickens.
I did.
You did?
There we go.
Did you get her? There, let's see. There you go. Okay. Good evening.
Turned out.
Can everybody see? Okay, thank you. Yes, I'm standing in for Mr. Lobb today. He could not be with us for this evening. I'll do my best. How's that? So this is for the fiscal year 26-27, which would start in July 1st of 26 and end on June 30th of 27. This pie chart kind of shows you what we expect for revenues. Property taxes make up 11,783,000 and some change. And then we have state shared revenues, $3,530,000. District court, $1,861,000. Reimbursements from other funds, $9 million. Then we have license permit fees of $1,128,000. Cable franchise fees, $415,000. Grants of $1,381,000. Community center, $550,000, and miscellaneous, $3,738,000. A big portion that you'll see in here on that $9 million is reimbursement from other funds. That is included is that plaza money that we took out of fund balance that was approved by this council and mayor of $2 million. So it's not normally this high. The $33 million is included with those fund balance transfers as well to cover those. So our typical budget is not 33 million, just to give you a heads up. Last year's it was 27 million, and I don't know the exact. This year would kind of be just barely around 28, 29, not 33. But we have to show it this way because we're spending that money. The expenditures that we're expecting, it balances the budget at 33,450,985. Public safety makes up 42% at $14 million. Retiree health care is almost $3 million, just shy, $2.8 million. That's 8% of our budget. Finance, cable, treasurer, clerk, and assessor make up $1.2 million, 3% of the budget. Public services and city hall make up $2,246,000, 6.7% of the budget. City administration, city attorney and mayor, and city and council all put together make up $2.9 million. I'd like to expand on that a little bit. So under the city administration budget, because this got brought up, is the debt payments, the liability insurance. Many things make up that portion because it doesn't go specific to like public safety or DPS or water or even community center. So that is kind of like the catch-all for where you pay some of your debts, just so you guys have an understanding of that. Debt service and other transfers is $6 million. And then district court is 2.374. I'd like to point out on the slide before it that district court, we receive about 1.8 we're thinking, but we're gonna be spending about 2.3. So it's not completely self-sustainable to us on our portion. We pay a little bit out of our general budget for it. Not a lot, just some, just to make you aware. We can't get around that. Just so you know, it's something the state mandates for us. Recreation Community Center is $1.4 million and for a total of $33,450. Other funds that are broke down a little better. Water and sewer make up $18 million. That is revenue and expenses, the same $18 million. Library is $865,000. Capital projects are $10 million. Capital projects are, I'll show you in a little bit, but those are most of our major infrastructure that we're doing, the plaza and purchase of equipment. Brownfield, $2.4 million, community center debt, $410,000. The building department, $1,305,000. Michigan's indigent defense, I hope I said that right. It's $175,000. That actually right now the state gives us that money. That's part of our revenue through a grant. Just so you're aware, we don't know how much longer that's gonna last. They are telling us that maybe after this budget year that might go away. DDA is 2.427 million. Rubbish is $2,458,000. Major and local streets, this includes the millage or the charter amendment that we did, has $9,522,000, and forfeiture is $20,000 is expected. This is a look at the historical information. So if you look at a point to point out is the state equalized value. I know everybody likes to talk about this one. Back in, I don't know why he has this one, taxable value. 2007, we were at, taxable valuation was $1,089,139,000. And today's, I'm curious if you don't have it in here. Today's is much higher than that, I know that, but not by a lot. I'm sorry, I don't see it on here. I will say we've just passed in the last 2 years, 2007's valuation, because of that reset we had with the, we'll call it the Great Recession back in the day. We are, I'm gonna say probably about 35 or $40 million for taxable valuation above what that was at that time. So, to kind of give you guys a comparison to, money hasn't moved as fast as people think it has moved, but it has finally moved. This is the 10-year capital plan. So for this year, I'm just gonna concentrate on this year for you guys, because this is part of this budget. The police department is doing some software upgrades. They're buying 15 new tasers. I did hear they have the yellow on them. I asked. Prep radio replacement, $38,000. And then their license reader, they have to do upgrades on, that's $5,000. And technology, I don't know exactly what a Guardian tracker is, but $5,000. I assume it's some sort of software thing. General administration has the plaza project for $3 million total in there. And then BSNA upgrade is $65,000. That is the upgrade we've been doing. We broke it into 2 payments. BSNA let us pay partial in the current fiscal year, the other partial in next year to save us some money. Fire station improvements, $125,000. A new ambulance, $225,000. I think that's a retrofit. Yes, it is. It's a, so we're using the original chassis, just a new box. And other way around, sorry. We're using the same box, getting a new chassis, and they're putting it together for that price. Fire engine pumper is $1,301,000. That was totally by an appropriation grant through the state of Michigan, through Representative Liberati's office. That is 100% being funded by that. Also, because we're making the payment up front, we're saving $95,000. We're allowed to use that savings of $95,000 towards other equipment on that vehicle. So that'll help us. Power stretcher and loader, $70,000. The striker lease program, we started that this current fiscal year, I'm sorry. It's a 5-year payment. That was for all new fire equipment. What does that entail? Do you remember? Like what kind of items? Yeah, sure. I'd like them to know what you're getting.
Good evening. So the 5-year lease was for 2 new power stretchers, 2 new power stair chairs for moving people in and out of the homes and up and down the stairs. We got 2 new LP35 state-of-the-art monitors. We received new power loaders and AEDs. So all of our equipment that we needed on the ambulances, plus the community AEDs, were through that program.
Okay, thanks. It's also, fire department's getting fire radios and more firefighting equipment that he puts in there for $125,000. Recreation is gonna do a park upgrade, 1 or 2? 1? You're not sure? To be determined, but at least 1 park upgrade for $215,000. They're also gonna purchase a dump truck. Community center portion is gonna upgrade the equipment. They do that, it's about $6,000 they use yearly to do upgrades. And the 2 arena humidifiers for $800,000. That helps with our 22, I think, years old now, I'm pretty sure. 22-year-old ice arena. When they did the community center upgrade 22 years ago, they also as well did the ice equipment, tore all that out, put in new, and it's at its life. So we're gonna upgrade those. That way we continue to be one of the premier ice arenas in the downriver and southeast Michigan area. Then we go on to Public Works for this year. They're gonna put a salt spreader on a smaller dump truck to help them in the small parking lots and things like that nature. And the $80,000 for the 2 utility vehicles, they're actually snow removals for sidewalks and smaller items like that. Something we haven't been able to do in a long time due to the emergency management. They had to sell that equipment, and we don't really have equipment other than snow blowers. So this is a lot more efficient. It'll help with the tracks, even potentially at the parks, could be. It comes with several things. I want to kind of talk about that for a second. So it comes with a broom, also comes with a plow attachment, and one other attachment, right? And a snow blower attachment. So for that price, you're actually getting very multi-use out of these pieces of equipment. Just, we will be doing, as has been asked before, is the parks and medians and things like that, the sidewalks, they will be handled. Mowers, $32,000. Every 5 years or so, you should buy mowers the way they're used here. Then rubbish, Mr. Filipski's gonna buy one more leaf vacuum for $160,000. I think he's really headed towards a program. That is why. I won't elaborate on that any longer. Vehicles, computer data for the building department, plaza project, the building department's gonna help fund $500,000 towards that. Then we go on to the water and sewer department. You have sewer main replacement for $650 that you, the council and mayor has already approved for this fiscal year coming up. You have 2 water main replacements. One is downtown Ellen Road that we just got word. We got $1,092,000 from Representative Shri Tandidar through the federal grant process. And this is the difference in price to finish that. It's over a $3.5 million project. Another water main replacement that we do yearly, they have in there. Lead replacements, another $150,000. We have a program that's kind of doing that amount every year after we did $1 million worth. It's really making an improvement to all that. You have sewer vector. It's one of 2 payments left on it on a 4-year loan, I think it was. Sewer lining, $350,000. And then you have 2 F-250 pickup replacements. And those pickups are around 10 years old now. We're trying to do a capital plan where every 10 years these pickup trucks get replaced so we don't get behind. And the basin has a pump they purchased for that $644,000. Well, they will be purchasing, I should say, after this. This is our debt, city debt payments. So this is what we pay, it looks like, per year. 26, 27 is on here, as you see. We still have community center debt for the bond, brownfield debt, 2 movie studio bonds, DPS water building. This is the last payment on that building for this year. Fire station, we just took that on last year. And Rican Rosedale, we took a bond out to have those totally repaved. So this is the next, we'll say 5 years, then John has the beyond years there of what that cost on these debts. This is a lot more than I want to really talk about here. So we got a lot of water debt. It's not technically all ours, just so you're aware. I want to point that out. When you see these gray box area here, the majority of that is given to us through other organizations because we're part of the organization. They take the bonds out and we have a portion we have to pay towards that. Those we can't control so much, like the other debt that you've seen on the last page. You see here the water debts, DPS water building, the same, that $293. So those 2 payments between the one above here where you see DPS water building, that comes out of the DPS general budget. This part comes out of the water budget. So each budget will retain that money back after those are paid in the next fiscal year. The DPS building will be completely paid off in 7 years, I'm pretty sure is what we took that loan for. Everything else is on here towards the bottom. You'll see where you have judgment levies. Those actually go straight to the taxpayer. We receive them and pay the levies through that. This is the form John made the last time to show you everyone. This is the debt we currently have and when it's callable and how much it's out there for. I don't have much to expand on it. The sewer judgment bond on the top, that is, I think that is for the tunnel that was put in. Is that, when was that? It wasn't 94, it was in 2009, right there, see it, issue date. Oh, along 94, yes, that's what this is for. It's over by Melvindale High School, that area. Back in 2009, we had a federal judgment against us for flooding back over there, and they made us take this out to make improvements. So that's something we have no choice. It's not even callable, just so you see. Local government loan program revenue bond there, that $16 million original bond is for the movie studio. That says you have to make a whole premium. That means we have to pay everything at once. So that's kind of difficult. So that one looks like we'll be just making payments for now. 2 refunding bonds on here. As the finance director originally told you, that it's callable at par plus accrued interest. So we can make a plan to try to pay that, but we have to pay basically all our debt to the investors on those as well. Redevelopment refunding bonds, that's the brownfield. What we're doing with the brownfield right now is the Meyer side got paid off through the brownfield, and the other side of the hill had a bond taken out to do that. So we're allowed to take and keep collecting the brownfield on the side that Meyer is to pay off the other bond. We should be able to pay it off in the next 3 years doing that. So it'll be many years early. Michigan Transportation Fund bond, that was Reek and Rosedale that we just took a couple years ago. And the last 2 are capital improvement bonds. I'm not quite exactly, I'm sorry, positive on 22 was, trying to think what that one was. I think that one is for the water main on Reek in 2022. And then 2024, the capital improvement bond was for the fire station that we just took out a year ago. Proposed water rates for this budget are, current rate is $5.10 for water, and it's gonna move up to $5.35 per 100 cubic feet. And sewer is $6.82 currently, and it's gonna move up to $7.35 per 100 cubic feet. So for the average family of 4, it's gonna go up every 2 months about $10. That's a 5.9% increase for the 2 combined. And that was the end of the slideshow. Any questions, or do we wanna, it's up to if you guys wanna open it to public hearing at this time.
I think we'll open it to
Okay.
public hearing, and then
Yep.
we'll have the questions when we do the motion. We will open public hearing on the budget. Anyone wishes to come up and comment, they may do so at this time.
Good evening, City Council. Raymond Gusson Quant. A couple of things. I know way back when we turned around and we were in dire straits and our home values were dropping and the city was not bringing in what they used to bring in, but they still had bills to pay at the going rate. The city emergency manager came in and tried to work with us to go ahead and get certain things done. For a number of years, I've been hearing that the only way we're going to get out of debt is to constantly get our property tax value up. Well, it's getting to a point where our property values are going up. But some of us, yes, we're not paying what some of the new homes are paying, because when the new homes come in, the value gets redone. But I want to remember and remind us all, especially a lot of citizens, what we've done as citizens of Allen Park. We went ahead and we spent, or went ahead and voted to bring in a special road millage, and we made it, it was supposed to be temporary, but we brought it in permanently, okay? The road millage is 1.915 mils, which brings in approximately $2,068.60. That's strictly for roads within our city. That's not any extra money that we get from the state, feds, or anybody who wants to donate money to us. That's money that actually we, the citizens, pay by millage that we, the citizens, actually voted in to be permanently. We also, at the same time, voted in a police and fire millage, which at that time when we voted it in, we were told a number of times that it was only going to be there only if our budget stayed below a certain threshold. Once it hit a certain amount of money, revenue, it was supposed to go away. But it did not. So they came to us citizens and they asked for us to bring it in permanently, which we voted it in. At that time, it was 6.75 mils, which brings in $7 million and $74.13, which brings in pays for 53% of the police and fire. We, the citizens, voted that in because we wanted to take care of our police and fire department, which we did. And I have nothing against it. But what I'm doing up here right now is saying to all of us, this is what we, the citizens, voted in to bring a special millage that raised up our special rates and did not ever say, well, we wanted to take it back once our rates went back up to where they are now. So I just want to make sure that we all understand that. But I got a couple questions with this budget because this is the first time I ever saw it. Because I dug it up and I looked. On page 8 of 152, under this overview of the city budget, it says the budget staffing level is 121 full-time positions, including a full-time elected positions. This includes one new potential program coordinator for the downtown plaza. If I believe that the downtown plaza is our plaza, where the old movie studio was. Is that correct? Yes. And a number of meetings in the past, there's no time here, in a number of meetings in the past, thank you. In the past couple meetings, it was said that we weren't going to do nothing special. That someone was already going to be able to do it, including the lawn work. I can go back into meetings, and I did, and that's exactly what was said. So where are we bringing this new potential coordinator in, and how much is it going to cost us? I don't see nothing. You guys are going to actually you guys are going to go ahead and vote for this. Are you voting this in today? Do you have any idea how much this person's going to cost? What the total amount is going to be? How much are they going to make? What the benefits are going to be? Because if you do know, you ain't letting us citizens know. Over on this one letterhead over here, it states, down on the bottom, it says the property tax millage rate proposed to be leveled to support the proposed budget will be a subject to this hearing. What do you mean by that?
In the budget book itself that they're voting on is, So that is the form that the mayor and clerk sign and send to the county after the budget is adopted. That is how much that the city will be sending for mills, basically for the budget.
Okay, through the chair, Tom, are we planning to raise any kind of millage at all? Because the way it states, it kind of sounds that way.
If I could just interject, because I'm looking at the 4029, one of my favorite forms. Interestingly enough, on the first column, they talk about the, column 4, and it's also posted every year out in the lobby. It's the original millage authorized by election and charter. And if you start with the charter operating, it says 20 mils. And right after this gets published, that decreases because of Headley and everything else. So if you look at column 5, what actually gets applied at this moment is 19.6696 mils. If you look at the library, they were authorized for 1 mil. They are only getting 0.8254 mils. And if you look at rubbish, that was approved for, that millage is authorized by election and charter as 3, and that rate is currently at 2.4876. So these all, even though charter says you can do X amount, we never quite get to be able to collect that X amount, but that is what has to go to this.
Mayor, all I'm doing is I'm reading a piece of paper, and as I read it, maybe you people up here, elected officials, see it a little bit different than I do, but I'm a citizen out here, and I don't get to see this every single damn day, excuse my language. All I'm doing is asking questions. So when it says that, it looks like it's being raised, okay? But I got a couple questions with this, with something else. And this is just something. I'm looking at the budget itself. I'm looking at all these breakdowns. As I'm looking at it, it has a budget for 2026, 2027. There's areas here where it says, I'm not against any of this, so just go along with me. It says post-employer health care. The budget for this year was $22,000. Okay, I'm sorry. This is on page 46. Actually, it's 125 or 152, and it's,
That's the water department only.
okay, but it says 22,000, then it goes up to 328,000 for next year. I mean, 27, 28. I look at this like, wow, what is the difference? And now, I'm going to say something. You guys are looking at me real strange. How many of you have read this? You're going to vote on this? I'm just asking a simple question. Why is it went up to $328,000?
Because the fiscal year we're in currently was under administration of that portion. We moved it to that portion of it. It's in the same budget profile. There's water, there's sewer, that's where you're at right now. There's water, there's sewer. There's water, there's sewer, and there's admin. Admin for the water itself, water and sewer. In this fiscal year you're currently in, not the new one, the one you're saying it went from this to that number would be in down there. John moved it into that section. It's the same budget. Just to give you some idea.
You can see what I'm looking at. Same thing where it says contingencies is 000 for this year. For the next years, it's going to be $2,800,000. Wow. So you're going to, I can move numbers. I can understand how you can move numbers or recall something and say, I'm going to put it down over here. It better be in this area, maybe not in this area. That's just something I'm looking at.
I get where you're going. So the contingency, I can answer that as well. So this current year was 0 for the water department due to there was nothing. We had to take, it's accounting 101, and I'm not an accountant, but I'm going to explain it the best I can. It is, in government accounting, we had a debt given to us for over $2 million last year to overbilling to Ford Motor Company. So we had, hear me out, we had to take that debt on the books for the current year so that it's paid back through the next year. It's an accounting number. I know where to go with that, so.
It's the same way it says Allen Road, okay, this is under Downtown Development Authorities. It also says here, budget for 2026, 2027, it says $384,000. The next budget for the next number 5 years is over $938,000. So I want to thank you very much for allowing us to come up here and giving me this extra time, because this is the budget, and I don't see the budget every day, I'm sorry. I only get it, I can look at it within an hour, 2 hours. Then I gotta try to figure out how to come up here, okay, and how am I gonna try to be nice about it, okay? But we, the citizens, remember, we're the ones who are paying, and we have to, if we don't have the money, try to take care of our money if we don't really have it. I know we're doing good. And you look back and I look forward, and in 2026, 27, 28, a lot of this debt could be paid off. I just hope that we watch out how we spend it, because I would really like to be spent on us, the citizens, and given back to us, the citizens. And I'm not going to call the budget revenue or the budget, the extra money that we have at the end of the year. Be careful with that money. I won't call it a slush fund, because it's not, that's a bad word to use. Okay? But moving forward, just remember, we the citizens voted in most of this. And who's really going to get hit, and I hate to say this, is anybody who buys a new home and they're in the $300,000 range. A lot of them are going to find out, and they're finding out right now, because my neighbors are, they can't make the payment. Because they looked, when it was sold to them, they were told it's only so much. Then a year and a half, it gets reset. So just be careful. I'm sorry I took all your time up. Okay, but as you see, I try to give some of our citizens here some time before I came up here, and I try to notice, if you noticed that lately, but I'm not going to let you guys get off scot-free. So yes, our money, be careful with our money, and before I leave, I want to thank our senators and our state reps who gave us some of this extra money, because I would love, and I'm going to look it up, and I'm going to get a hold of, talk to Tom maybe, and find out exactly how much money we got from them. Because it's not that they're not doing nothing for us. And they're going to start getting recognized up here. And I don't care what party they are, I really don't. But if they're serving us, and we elect them, and they're giving us money, I'm going to thank them. And not only that is, I will personally call their office and thank them, because I have done it a number of times, including the people in Washington, D.C. With that, have a great day. Thank you very much. It's going to get warmer, too. No, it's going to freeze, so watch out. Then it's going to go up to 80. I'll see you at the next meeting. I'll be up here again today. Thank you very much.
Hello, Kendra Essler on Balfour. I wrote down my thoughts tonight just because I want to make sure that I communicated them clearly to you all. And I do want to just respectfully clarify that while what I've observed while serving on the Street Fair Commission, there has been no mismanagement of funds. As treasurer and as a bank manager professionally, responsibility and accountability are extremely important to me. The commission works hard to maintain a healthy fund balance so that these events can continue sustainably year to year. Also strongly support being thoughtful with spending, obtaining multiple quotes, and finding ways to save money so that our resources can be used responsibly for the benefit of the community. And I do appreciate the clarification tonight regarding the agenda oversight. However, I would just respectfully ask that significant proposals involving long-term staffing and budget impacts continue to be communicated clearly and as transparently as possible so that residents fully understand what's being discussed and have the opportunity to provide input. And while I was reviewing the proposed budget packet, I noticed a reference to a new potential program coordinator position for the downtown plaza. And I do appreciate that the proposed position would serve as a liaison rather than in a support role rather than replacing the commission. However, you know, and again, I agree with the collaboration between the city and the commission is important. At the same time, I think it's fair to carefully evaluate the long-term financial impact of adding a salaried position with benefits, especially when volunteers contribute significant unpaid time and effort to these events. And I also understand the vision for future downtown projects and increased activity in Allen Park. However, I believe that residents have valid questions about long-term priorities and economic sustainability before expanding payroll and taking on additional major projects. At the end of the day, I hope that the focus remains on collaboration, fiscal responsibility, and thoughtful planning, and what's truly best for the community. Thank you.
Good evening, Council. Terry Cheney, I live on Paris Street. One question about the budget. You had indicated there's a new snow removal equipment with brushes and snow blowers and plows, et cetera, multi-purpose.
Yep, that's for the sidewalks that
Yep.
the city owns that they have not been maintaining properly over the years.
Does that mean that they'll be applied and used to the sidewalks of the parks in the wintertime?
That's what we're getting them for specific, is the parks.
Good, yeah, because it hasn't been, and it's been pretty bad, quite frankly. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Claire McNally Bailey, and I was going over this budget, and I've been asking, I asked a couple months ago on the Freedom of Information Act for information about our expenses and our debt, and I was told it was public information and find it myself, basically. So, finally, it was in your budget, your plan. So we are, according to this, and you can help me if I'm wrong, it says that we are $34 million in debt. Okay, and we owe over $7 million in the Brownfield Redevelopment Authority. We owe $10 million in general obligation funds for the next 11 years. We're still paying, and I don't know why you guys have it labeled as the movie studio. That's still labeled as movie studio, and we still owe $16 million on that. We owe $7 million on the fire station. We are swimming in debt. So the Southfield lease property is $26 million. The event center that everybody's talking about is already up to $6 million, and that, I don't know. And then you're planning on hiring somebody to run that when we have the DDA that's doing a great job doing the festivities, activities. They're finally using the parking lot. They're finally using what we have set up. It says we're underfunded for the Employees Health Care Trust. I don't know how much we are doing that. And then I was going through all the line items, and we have a bunch of computer lines for each department. And I'm wondering, does Allen Park have their own computer tech person?
No, we do not. We have a third party.
And then, so if we took a Excel spreadsheet, we could figure out how much money we're spending on the third party.
Yes.
Well, maybe we should do that and maybe hire our own person, because every department has a lot of money being computer fix, software upgrades. And then I'm looking at this 2026 tax rate request. Are we going to be, it says election, community-centered debt and election, sewer debt. And it has a different millage.
Those were bonds that went out to the public and was voted on at that time.
It was voted on.
Yes, it was. Those are voted bond millages.
So we already voted for the community center debt? Is that this?
That was 20 20-something years ago, when there was, 2002, they built a community center. We didn't have a community center, we had an ice arena.
But in 2019, we took a $4 million debt.
That was for the DPS facility, yes.
Oh, so that's a different,
That's a different, that was for the DPS, that was a partial amount of money for the DPS. The city paid a portion that we had in cash for it, and then took a $4 million loan.
all right, well, I think having a meeting and having you guys deciding that this budget is fine in one meeting isn't really sufficient. And that's it. Thank you.
No one else is coming up. We will close the public hearing on the budget. And I will take a motion to adopt the fiscal year 2026-2027 budget.
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Lloyd,
Second.
second by Mr. Wurtzbacher. Before I ask for your comments and questions, I will like to make a few comments myself. This isn't the first time that council has looked at this budget. We had a study session. There's been plenty of questions asked. A lot of the debt that you're looking at is long-term. We have refinanced a number of the bonds. It's not unusual for any community to fund long-term with bonds structures such as the DPS building and the fire station. Otherwise, you wouldn't get anything done. Talking about road millage, I don't know what the current cost is now for one lane of miles, one mile, one lane. But I know that a couple of years ago, it was over $1 million, and I'm sure it's pushing $2 million at this point. And reading about the water problems that they're having up north of us, when you hear things like billions and billions to replace their infrastructure, that's kind of scary. The other thing is that, people tend to forget that we're all residents of this community. We all pay property taxes, so we have the same concerns and issues as you do. We are in a position now where we have not been for a very long time. We are fiscally responsible. What we submit to the state is viewed as being very positive. I think, if I could find my notes, someone asked about our bond rating, and I think it's AA+ or AAA, which we haven't had in a very long time, which means that actually if we needed to, we would be approved to obtain other financing to make sure that we are making the improvements to our community and our infrastructure that we should be making. But we're not going to do that. We've gotten a sheet from our finance director that is addressing a lot of the debts that we are seeing which can be paid down, which can be paid off early. There are somewhere that cannot be done without a high penalty. We are in very good shape. We have funds in reserve that you might view as rainy day funds. We are not spending every penny that we get to make sure that in an emergency, we're not going to look foolish. I can tell you this, the reason I'm up here is because I got involved with the Emergency Managers Advisory Committee. And I learned a lot of things. And one of them was that this community was in the red for years because you had people in charge who felt it was a good idea to give everybody everything that they wanted, nice deals. I mean, some of the retirements, I sure would have loved to have retired and earned more than what I earned when I was working. but that's where we were at. And I looked at data that made me want to vomit because we were in the red for years. And that movie studio was the straw that broke the camel's back. And that occurred because before they elected a mayor who thought it was a good idea to give everybody everything they wanted, they had a mayor who realized, hey, we've got to stop the bleeding. And he did that. But he didn't get reelected because he didn't pander to certain groups. So what you ended up with was a mayor who was beholden to everybody, who hired a city administrator that knew nothing, that had other sycophants who knew nothing, and they put us into a deep, dark hole. And this is a cautionary tale because a lot of hard work goes into this budget. Every department head here is very responsible. We're trying to give the residents as much as we possibly can. We're trying to give our employees as much as we possibly can. But we are looking out for over 28,000 residents in this community. And sometimes we have to make difficult decisions. And sometimes we have to say no. It's not that we like it. Don't forget, we're residents, we're taxpayers. We get the same issues as you do. But we're grown-ups. Comments or questions on the budget?
Yes. So Mrs. Bailey, as you were talking about the debt, I was adding it up, so it comes to $106 million for our total debt from what you were reading. Just to let you know that, though, that John Lobb, our finance director, is putting together, and he told us this at the workshop, a debt reduction plan, which he is working very hard on. So he will be presenting that to us in the near future. I do agree with what some of the residents have said. I do not think that we need a program coordinator at this time. I'm not saying that we may not need it down the road, but at this time, I don't think so. And at the workshop, the amount of $70,000 approximately was given for that staff. And then if you add the benefits, it comes to $101,000 to $108,000 with the benefits. So at this time, I don't think we need that. We haven't even started building on that property yet or finalized anything. And from what I understand, we may not be able to break ground until maybe November. So I think that later on, we could maybe add it once we see what's going on at the theater property. It's just like we did, we added a deputy for the treasurer. We added that on later. So just giving my opinions, I don't think we need one at this time. We don't even have, J.B. Vig, I believe, is redoing his proposal, so to see what we will have to pay for that property to construct it. So I think we need to see that first, but that's my opinion.
Can I answer through the chair a couple things? The program coordinator isn't being hired with this budget. It's just in the budget in case we were to hire during the fiscal year. Just like any other position, we would still have to come in front of the HR committee and through the mayor and council to have that approved. At this time, this is just being put in there for just in case. This isn't we're hiring them because you passed a budget. I just want to be clear with that.
Okay, so the last budget, when we had the dog park and we had the $50,000 furniture, you told me that anything that, when we voted to pass a budget, it was stuck in the budget and then it was in there, and so that would happen.
We still had resolutions for you guys to pass them. It's the same thing. We didn't purchase anything, even though it was in the budget, without having come back and asked this council.
I would just see it like it taken out of the budget and
Correct.
maybe looked at in the future when that development starts happening.
Correct me if I'm wrong, just, because I know where it's listed in the budget, and for some reason I can't access it. Before it even says with the program coordinator, it says potential.
Right.
which means
Correct.
possible,
Correct, not guaranteed.
which also means that it may not be.
Right, and then that would be just money that goes back into fund balance if not created.
But it may be, so,
Maybe,
again, I
maybe
would
not.
just
Your
like to take it
approval.
out.
With your approval later.
Through the chair. I think that the deputy treasurer position is actually, is really instructive to this, because we were in a rock and a hard place in that situation.
Right.
We ended up in this spot where all of a sudden we needed a deputy treasurer, and we were under the impression that we needed one now. Like, you know, and so we had to kind of, we had to figure out where that money's gonna come from. We had to go and crunch the numbers and move stuff around and make the amendments, and we made it work.
Right,
But, like, you know, I really need to put a new roof on my garage, and I might not do it next year, but it would be better to plan for it if we did. And I understand your point, and I understand the concerns from Ms. Essler, if I'm saying your name right. Because I know that our Festivities Commission works incredibly hard. I know that we have a great DDA that's putting together a lot of programming. And your Councilman Nick's absolutely right. We might end up in a situation where we are not fully running this until July, and now we're into the next fiscal year. And so we won't need it. And I think in that situation, then, you know, we're $70,000 to the good, or 101, or whatever it is that I think that the upper amount was 108. That
with the benefits.
yeah, with benefits, but I mean, like inversely, like if we were able to let's say the best of possible worlds, this thing gets up and running, and we want to make sure that we are making the best use of this space that we are investing $7 million.
With DDAs.
$6 million between the DDA and the city of the citizens' money. I think that, you know, we're gonna want to make sure that we're using that to the best possible. Now, I mean, again, I think that, you know, it's very possible that this won't be up and running until next July, or into the next fiscal year. I think that the time that we would want to, like, this person to be the most active is, people have put the concerns about the, you know, the colder months, which is the times that we don't have things. It's the times that we're not running events. We don't have things for the DDA. Getting into those planning stages is going to be crucial. Like, we don't want them to, if we hire this person in November, like, you know, then they're going to be, you know, up and running. So from my standpoint, from my seat, if we're talking about planning, we're not spending $110 today. I would much rather be ready for the eventuality that we do it, and if we don't need it, great. But if we all decide as a council, and we'll all have a vote on it when that time comes, then I'd rather have the money than not. That's my
So what happens
standpoint.
with, I mean, the DDA is doing events now, the block parties, things like that. The Festivities has been running the street fair.
Sure.
You have Historical that's been doing things down at the Historical Museum. I mean, we have people and commissions that are doing events
Absolutely.
right now. So I would just like to see it put off until maybe another year, once we get the facility up. The DDA is doing things in that area right now, and see how that goes.
Jack, I think it's more of an umbrella position. Hasn't been, well, you know, a lot of detail isn't in it. Part of it is the plaza, but part of it is, we've talked about needing a media person. And part of it is looking at how some of these activities interact. And part of it is in taking a look at what other communities are doing, and consolidation of some responsibilities and different oversight. It's not just strictly for the plaza. And again, it's one of these things, you know, as Mr. Lloyd pointed out, you know, I budget, I plan ahead, gee, I might need a new roof, but maybe I won't need it until next year. It's in the budget, it doesn't mean it's gonna get used, and like everything else in the budget, it comes before council. We're gonna buy a truck, we're gonna buy a police car, we're gonna buy this equipment. It all comes back to us. Basically, what this is a budget. We're taking a look, here's our revenue, here's our known expenditures, here are things that we are planning perhaps on spending money on, here's our 5-year plan, here's our 10-year plan. It's planning. It's, here's the numbers. We know that we have budget amendments. We know this is generally what happens when budgets come to council in June. That's an amendment on the current fiscal year budget. That's what gets looked at. But anyway, that's, I've been budgeting since I was a kid. My parents used to do it in a three-ring binder.
So then at the workshop, the city administrator mentioned that we might have to change the ordinance because he would like to see it be a liaison to the festivities, right? And with the
I said that
DDA,
that would be an idea. We don't have a job description at all.
right?
We just came up with a name that might not even be that name. This is more of a position that really is majorly thinking of for the plaza, other events to help with the DDA, help with the Parks and Rec when they have events. It's just a thought process right now. It's not even made. So this was, as Councilman Lloyd said, this is just pre-planning for if this is something we, meaning the council, mayor, and administration decide is something the city needs to do. So we're just pre-planning it. We haven't made any commitment to anything yet on this.
Through the chair. Oh, go ahead, Gerald. Or Gary, you guys have something.
Thanks. So we're pre-planning,
That's all this is right now, yes.
but we are funding it.
Well, you can say we are. We're actually putting something in the budget for if we come to you and you ask us, where's the money gonna come from? We budgeted for it. If you want it, it's there. If you don't,
Okay, so if this, are we planning on doing it this year, the
we
upcoming
were
year,
thinking,
or is it?
we're having to see when this facility's gonna be finished. You don't hire someone after the facility's finished if you're wanting to get acts and different things and programs in there. You would hire them just before, so you have time to get the acts and different things of that nature. So we have to see how this portrays. This might happen where we open in May. We don't know at this time. It might happen, as you said, till July. But we're just putting it in there as like a placeholder for if it does and everyone decides they want to do that. And then the reason behind the ordinance adoption would be a change was only just the way, it has nothing to do with taking over a commission. It's the way it's written, how the commission operates, and if someone's gonna be like a liaison to them. That wasn't to ever plan on doing anything with the actual commission that way, that people might have took it.
Well,
It was,
we have a liaison to them now.
we have a council liaison.
Right.
Who, when it comes to finances, we have several things that we look at. They're the only commission that actually has an escrow account that is because of the street fair, right? They make money to help pay back for the money and they help other
Right,
departments.
historical has an escrow also.
Okay, a much smaller.
Right,
but-
it
but
is
you're
much
correct.
smaller.
But we were thinking potentially this person, not saying they're gonna, this was just one of the ideas thrown around to make it worth a position more than just one thing, could help with many things, and that could be one area to help.
Mr. Lloyd?
Yeah, through the chair, if you don't mind. First off, I think that this is a really interesting and fruitful conversation. I genuinely do, because I think that there's a lot to unpack here. I think it's important to keep in mind that we're talking about, a $110,000 position in a $33 million budget, just to keep that macro there.
I think it needs to get paid $110,000.
What's that?
I think the individual thinks maybe they're getting paid.
No, it's $70,000, $110,000 with benefits.
It may not even be 70, we haven't even.
Yeah. So yeah. I'm
That's
just
what we budgeted.
I'm putting it in perspective of the entire budget, And again, this is us planning for the future. I think that something that the mayor said that I think is interesting, and we've talked about this since you took over this position, is I think that the title might be throwing some people off here too, is because we're focusing for just this plaza. And I think that there's a lot of opportunity for this to be a lot wider than that. Right now, I think that, correct me if I'm wrong, Deb Zettel handles a lot of our Facebook and things like that. We're in the 21st century, the age of social media communication, and Deb is doing executive assistant to Mr. Murray is doing the brunt of that. I mean, we're in an era where the vast majority of people get their information, the things that are communicated to them, through these different channels, and I think that it is worthwhile to talk about that being a position in itself. I mean, not just that, but larger than it. But I think that the whole point of saying that we're talking about this one position within this larger budget is I think that that's something that we can have that conversation as we go forward, because we're not spending that money today. We're just planning for it. So I think that it's worthwhile to have these conversations and go forward with them. But I think that there's a lot of different avenues that we can discuss in it. But within the context of the larger budget, I think right now we're planning for something that may or may not come about. So that's my final perspective.
My question, an additional addendum question. If we don't use that money this year, 26, 27, does that money automatically carry over to 27?
Never in government accounting.
28?
It goes right into fund balance. That's what budget amendments happen to do. So at the end of a fiscal year, all funding that was not spent goes right into fund balance. You make a New Year's budget. It starts fresh with the new taxes, new revenues, new everything. That's how you end up with your fund balance and how it grows. And when you want to take from the fund balance, we need the council and mayor to approve such a thing as a budget amendment.
Okay.
I hope, did that answer?
Yes, you
Okay.
did, you did.
Through the chair, I just want to make a quick comment. I want to thank every citizen that came up, despite beef, is also my colleagues. I believe that before I ask, as we've always said, before we make any decisions on this, that we definitely have goal-setting sessions that we plan on having for the pavilion, park, whatever you want to call it. And I also believe before we decide to hire anyone, I know this is put in there as a planning position, as a potential, not spending money today, but also make sure that we also make ducks in a row in regards to our police and fire department. As we know, we are in labor negotiations now, so I want to make sure that all our staffing issues are settled there before we even think of hiring a position there. So I understand it, planning, as it could be now, it could be November, but before that would happen, I wouldn't feel comfortable hiring anyone till those are settled. So that's my comment.
Any other comments? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
One no vote. Thank you. Now we move on to organizational business, and the next order of business is the appointment of a few commissioners. Got my papers on it. Thank you. Yeah. I am recommending the following board and commission appointments for your approval. All terms will expire as of December 31 of the year shown. To the Board of Ethics, I am appointing Pastor Bruce Hunt, filling a vacancy for a term which expires at the end of 2026. On the Local Officers Compensation Board, I am appointing Gary Hegedus, who will fill a vacancy with a term expiring in 2027. And on the Parks and Recreation Commission, I am appointing Gary Hegedus to fill a vacancy for a term which expires 2027. May I have a motion, please?
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Valerius.
Second.
Second by Mr. Wurzbacher. Any comments or questions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is approved. I don't know if, I know that Mr. Hunt is not here, and I believe that Mr. Hegedus is not here either, and they will make arrangements with Mr. Mizzi to be sworn in. I thank them both very much for volunteering to take these positions. And now the city administrator's operational report.
Good evening. APAC is donating $9,000 towards Purdy Family Park. It will be to renovate the baseball field to red clay. The renovation will take place over the next few weeks. Just a reminder that the Ellen Park Historical Museum, located at 15504 Englewood Avenue, is having a grand opening and ribbon cutting on Saturday, May 30th, starting at noon. The grand opening of Rusty's Dog Park will take place on Tuesday, June 30th at 4 p.m. Registration begins on June 1st at the clerk's office, by the way. The Downriver Senior Olympics will take place from August 10th through August 14th in Lincoln Park. For anyone interested in participating, you can register at the Ellen Park Community Center. Street sectional work and utility repairs throughout the city began this week. Millage Road work began on Beverly, starting at Osage. Beverly will be completely closed to through traffic until further notice. Aaron Filipski, Michael Laughlin, and I are going to the APWA State Conference next Tuesday through Friday. I will be checking my voicemails and emails as time allows. I will also be on vacation the Tuesday after Memorial Day through that Friday, the 29th. We would like to recognize the following May employment milestones. Nathaniel Vitelli, police officer, 10 years. Zachary Wara, police sergeant, 10 years. Adam Winger, police lieutenant, 10 years. And Derek Lynn, firefighter, for 5 years.
Thank you. I have a motion to accept and file the administrator's report. Motion by Mr. Barr.
Second.
Second by Mr. Valerius. Any comments or questions? I had one. What is the APWA?
American Public Works Association.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Because I would have put water in there instead of words. Any other questions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion is carried. We now come to public comments. You have 5 minutes to speak. All we ask is that you give your name and the street on which you live. Please do not give your full address. And the only other thing we ask is that you please keep your comments civil. Also, just a reminder, this is public comments. If you have questions, we will try to answer them, but it is not a Q&A session. If you have something that requires a departmental review, we ask that you provide your name and contact information on a sheet at the podium, and we will get back to you. It will either be done this evening if one of the department heads is here, and they will get a hold of you before you leave, or we will get back to you. We are now open for public comment.
Good evening, Council. My name is Pat McGuire. It's not a comment, it's a complaint. I live on the corner of Pinecrest and Pelham, and since they shut down I-94, we've had nothing but trouble out there with the semi-trucks and the big buses that come through, the commercial buses that come through. The other day, we had an incident out there with the police officer and one of the semi-drivers. And what I did was, they're running over my grass over there to make the turn. And I've got sprinkler systems out there. And this guy, I had the stakes in the ground with caution tape around it. And the driver of the semi-truck, he got out. He had Pinecrest shut down, he had Pelham shut down, and he pulled all my stakes out. Well, when I seen that, I come out of the house. Well, I didn't know there was an officer already trying to pull him over. And all he did was stop me. He told me, go back in the house, I'll handle it. And I kind of slowly walked back, but I wanted a piece of his ass before I got in the house, but the officer was there. So the officer, he finally pulled over down on Pelham Road. I think it was down around 94. He finally pulled over. And the officer was kind enough, he came back and explained to me, he said, I gave him 2 tickets. And I said, so, I asked the guy, I said, well, what do I do here? I mean, I'm having this problem every day, And so I called the city ordinance officer in Ellen Park. And I asked him, I said, am I allowed to put boulders out there and paint them, decorated? I don't want my house to look like trash, I mean, I got a nice looking piece of property. But the way it's going to look like trash. He said, no, you can't put boulders out there. I said, well, how about if I put some spikes out there and 2 houses down, I'll put truck repair tires. He said, no, you can't do that. I said, well, I only got one alternative. And he says, what's that? I said, I'll shoot the driver. He said, you can't do that either. Well, after I simmered down a little bit, I started to think. I said, if the city or the county or somebody could put a sign up on Southfield before they make that turn on Pinecrest and say, no semi-trucks, no commercial buses, prohibit, and a fine of $500, that might stop the issue. But I haven't heard any more back from the city ordinance guy. I think he told me he didn't know. It's the first time it's ever happened to him. He doesn't know what to do. So I don't know what to do. I come to the council meeting here. I hope there's something I can, something can be resolved here because I don't know what to do, so.
There is a sign, by the way, that says no trucks or commercial vehicles.
That's after they make the turn. That's after they make the turn. That's where the problem, I think, is. If you come down, it's on the inside of Southfield here.
on the
And
way in,
I went
right.
through that and I said, once the semi makes that turn, the semi makes that turn, there's no place for him to go but down,
So where you're asking for is an MDOT easement, not the cities. We don't have the right to put a sign
Well,
in
that's,
there.
that's what my
That's where
problem is. See, now
we're running
I'm
into
I'm
it.
in a catch-22 again. Here I go,
We are too. We put class 3 barricades at first. That's those ones that you see like at street fairs and things. And the state came in and said they will take our funding if we don't open that back up. We've been trying, we're racking our brain just as much as you are. Alls we have is our police force
So-
right now to try to help, just giving you an idea that we're
Well, the
trying.
police, they patrol it. There's nothing wrong with the officers. They're out there patrolling it day in and day out, giving tickets and everything. But they can't stay out there 24/7, And the thing is when I see it, I get upset. My daughter tells me, Dad, go in the bedroom because, you're going to get involved in it, But you know something? That's my property, though. That's the way I look at it. I want to maintain my property, and whatever it takes. But, I thought I'd come here, maybe I could get some answers. I don't know, what I can do.
Mr. McGuire, I will make a couple comments. Know it's your time. You are a man after my own heart. And as Tom said, unfortunately, that is MDOT, but that doesn't mean that we can't keep trying to get some communication through to them and advise them. It's kind of foolish when you consider that we got funding from the state to redo Pinecrest, and now they aren't helping us to properly maintain it. So there will be further communication with them. Whether or not anything will occur, that remains to be seen, but trust me, there will be further communication.
I mean, the road is beautiful now, but it's not going to be with these semis coming down there and these commercial buses. It's just a matter of time, so. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, is this thing working?
It is.
All right. My name is Trevor Redmond. I am a student from Allen Park High School who has an interest in government, politics, and social sciences. I came here today to present a very wonderful project I've been working on with a very amazing man. A couple months ago, I went to a presentation where a former teacher from Allen Park who used to teach calculus and pre-calculus named Yunus Farrakani came and gave a speech about his life and struggles in the Iran-Iraq war. I was so captivated by what he said that I visited him after and told him that I was going to be hosting a podcast and my first episode ever of it, and I was going to have him speak for me in it. This took a couple months to plan out, and I did a bunch of negotiating with him to get a lot of this done. But throughout the time, I was able to have my father help with filming, and I was able to film for 3 hours in my English teacher's room, actually, a 2-hour-long interview about the current state of Iran, his book, his life, and basically his struggles and overcoming them and the current state of tensions. This was recorded 3 days before the Iranian actions that President Trump took. So that's rather significant. And a couple days after that, they were doing stuff with the Strait of Hormuz. And I wanted to kind of come to spread that positive message, and I kind of wanted to spread awareness to it. Just like Councilman Lloyd said, in the age of AI, reliable information is super hard to find, especially on such a controversial topic as the Iran-Iraq war and stuff related to Iran. So to get an eyewitness testimony of somebody who lived through it and fought through it, even against his own people, is an invaluable experience, especially to the citizens of Allen Park and to the citizens of America. Now, for those who are watching here, to check out my YouTube channel, Symposium, you can look at this QR code up here. If anybody would like to scan it on the back of me, you can as well. I will take a minute for you all to do that. All right, are we all good back there? All right. Yep. Thank you all so much for your time, council, and I will retreat to my chair. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Council, I'm Terry Cheney. I live on Paris Street. A couple of comments. One, I was curious, does anyone know why the Allen Road project stops at Euclid rather than running to where the asphalt was ended by Melvindale just past the viaduct?
I can answer that. So the county stated they didn't have enough funding to go further. When asked, I'm the one who brought up to the county that road should be taken care of. And for about 4 years, they were looking at it. They have worse roads than that one in their county.
Yep.
But due to many circumstances, they came to us and said, hey, we'll do it. We thought we were going all the way to at least the bridge, what they just redid, was this college, I think. And they came back after deciding they're gonna do it and said the only funding they could get gathered together, they get it through the federal government and through the state, would only get them to Euclid. And when I said we'd rather have it all away, they said we can move and go to another project that will only cost that dollar amount. And instead, I would rather just at least have it to Euclid, I told them. Just
Really?
Yes, that's a fact.
The second comment I had was, and I love the book Block Club, if you will, but I think it needs a little tweaking, and a suggestion perhaps would be to not shut Philomene down at 7 a.m. in the morning. Makes it very difficult to park in the downtown area if you're going to restaurants or stores or whatnot. I think it'd be more appropriate for the businesses there who are there 365 days a year to not shut their customers out starting at 7 a.m. So maybe look at something around 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock to close the street off. Just a suggestion you might want to make to the folks that are running the project. Great job, love it, but it's a little early to shut off the street. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, City Councilor Ray McGusson, Quant. I want to thank everybody who got involved with doing this budget proposal. Did a great job. But I also want to thank the little information that you guys were given, and you took it, you ran with it, and you worked with it. You had a workshop session. It was pretty quiet until we opened up the meeting and we actually started to do the budget proposal. Then it got pretty interesting. I loved it. Moving forward, in that budget proposal, first time I seen it, is an organization chart. This organization chart is pretty interesting because the very first square is, guess who? Residents, the community, and the stakeholders. Then it's you guys, the elected officials. You guys run the city. You're the first line. And up below you are all the department heads. They're the ones who do a lot of the work. But that's all I can say. I also want to go ahead and want to thank the building department. For the ones who use Tim's, Coney Island over here, if you go there and you noticed, entering, there are 2 brand new handicap accessible parking places. I was there today. You wouldn't believe the amount of people coming in that was telling the owner over there, thank you for getting that put there. The amount of people that need to be able to use handicap is getting larger and larger. I sit there and I watch them, that they can hardly, some of them can hardly get in, and you have to help them even open the doors. So I really want to thank the city for doing that. Because yes, it was Matt Baker getting together with his people, going over there, talking to the business owner, and going ahead and getting those installed. And I'm going to tell you what, it didn't cost the city a lot of money. One yellow post, removed 2 God-blessed curbs, some blue paint, and guess what? The people want to thank you. Those workers there says they've been trying to get that done for the past 10 years. And it's not and I'm not blaming the city. Sometimes I'm going to blame the owners for getting out there and asking the city what we can do for them. So with that, I want to thank you. Very interesting discussion for the budget, but I tell you what, be careful, like you're going to do, of how much it's going to cost. Because you got to be careful how much we spend. You can't just say automatically we're going to give guys $100,000, because that sure sounds like basically what's been happening lately. We just give a guy $100,000 or whoever. Thank you very much. Thank you for your time. And thank the gentleman and the pastor and everyone else for being on these commissions. They don't get paid nothing. They feel it in their heart. They feel good that they're finally able to do something. They feel good. That's where the payback is. And yes, I was a commissioner. And I know how it is. I know how the time. And you guys, you got second. This is not your primary job. So with that, I want to thank you very much. Have a great day.
Hi, Mary Jane Flame Kittle, Hanford Street. I was sitting in the back. I looked at the budget last week. I know it's supposed to be posted on a paper, and in the notice it said the Mellis. The Mellis no longer exists, so I'm curious where you posted it at.
The News Herald.
Because it's the patch now.
Wow, that's where it's.
Is that where you placed it? That's all I'm
I
asking.
send it to legals and then yes.
Okay.
I still call it the Malice.
No, that's okay. I was just clarifying, so it was put into the patch. Okay, next. Budgets, finance. The majority of you are ignorant to finance. It's not an insult. It just means you have lack of knowledge. To get this budget 1 week prior to approving it is not enough time for you to thoroughly understand and go through it. I'm asking next year you at least give them a far more greater time to go through it. I see a game being played here with shells shifting. You talk about, oh, we're gonna put this in, but we're not approving it. The dog park was put in last year's budget along with furniture. It was never voted on this council to put it in place. It was told that it was in the budget, therefore it was approved. That's what the point was being brought up here. Fortunately, it's on tape now, stating that you will not do that without bringing it before the council. Lincoln Park just posted this position, part-time, underneath the Parks and Rec. Wyandotte has the position, full-time, but it's part-time what they do, and another thing, underneath the Park and Rec. We have way too many way too many chiefs, not enough Indians. You do not need to hire another head of anything. You do not need to put a liaison to overlook the finance for festivities. What it looks like when you say that is festivities is going to be the minions to raise the money while the city dibbles their hand in and says where it goes. They've been doing a fine job. They've been upfront with everything. You know what they have. They give the city whatever they want. To me, that was a great insult and a slap across the face. I know you want to have events there. Wonderful, give it a shot, try it. But don't insult festivities. They've been working hard on that street fair. Leave them alone. They have nothing to do with that park. If you want them to join in and help you because they're volunteers, so be it. But to sit there and insult them, that you're gonna put a liaison from the city to look at their finance is wrong. You look at their finance, they get audited all the time. We have the budget coming up for raises. In this, you had 3.25 raises. Last year, you had 3%. When you had the department heads come up here, you didn't follow the 3%. In fact, the department heads are appointed. They are not regular employees. They were appointed to their positions. They were not promoted to their positions. They were appointed. Where the appointment came into place, I cannot find it. It was never approved by the council to move them from regular employees in their positions to appointees. But being so, it means that when they start the appointed positions, the wages that were told at that time are to carry forth throughout the whole contract. The city clerk is a prime example. In his contract, it reads, every year he gets an increase. These people that were appointed did not have anything that stated that. They were agreed to a salary, that salary was set for 4 years. Their benefit packages are variants. They're different for each person, against the charter, once again. Charter says every single employee in the city is to get the same benefit across the board. So I'm coming to you with this new budget, with the money that's in it, and say take care in June. Make sure you follow the charter, stay within the budget, because this has got to end. You guys need to educate yourself a little bit better on these budgets and finance. 100,000 here, 100,000 there, it makes a difference. It really does. And you were elected to sit in these seats and to be our spokespeople. You were elected into these seats to overlook the budget, to overlook the city, to be our eyes, our ears, and to protect us. And all I see constantly is things going against the charter. Things twisted, words twisted here. I'm asking you to please start doing the job you were elected for. Start standing up for us. Thank you.
No one else is coming forward. We will close the public comment section and move on to the consent agenda, which this evening consists of claims and accounts on the payroll report and 2 licenses and permits, one a parade permit for Cabrini 5K on Saturday, June 6th, with the fee waived, and the other for Angelica Lutheran Church, a car show on Saturday, May 30th from noon to 3 p.m., also with the fee waived. Motion, please.
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Schlatt. Second. Second by everybody to the left. Second by Ms. Nick. Mr. Barces. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Moving on to resolutions. Resolution 1 is to authorize Mayor McLeod to sign the program year 25 subrecipient contracts for Community Development Block Grant and certifications on behalf of the City of Allen Park for the public services allocation of $20,000 and $830,500 to be used for a fitness station at Champaign Park and improvements to Brand Park. Motion, please.
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Wurtzbacher. Second. Second by Mr. Lloyd. Comments or questions? Perhaps Mr. Murray can read the memo to council.
We received 2 grants that they combined into one for $830,500. One portion was for Champaign Park fitness equipment to be installed and potential other items. And for Brant Park, park equipment improvements, which would be a kids' play area, childscape area with the safety tiles. And then the $20,000 that we receive every year for senior services and such. We do use that for our guidance center and things of that nature as well, just so you're aware of what the $20,000 goes towards in senior services, as I said. This is for the mayor to sign. It's an agreement between the county and the city to move forward with.
Yeah, they want it signed before they give us our money.
Pretty much.
Any comments or questions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, resolution is approved. Resolution 2 is to approve the amendment number 5 to the water service contract between the Great Lakes Water Authority and the City of Allen Park, and authorizes the mayor and clerk to sign on its behalf of the city. Motion, please. Motion by Mr. Valerius. Second by Mr. Wurtzbacher. Mr. Filipski.
Good evening. As noted, every 4 years, the Great Lakes Water Authority meets with its member partners to review what their contractual obligations are to provide water to the city, make any adjustments if necessary, and then reaffirm that. In our case, we historically use less water than what they're contractually obligated for us to provide, so we adjusted it downwards slightly. It helps in their planning this year, but in no way is it going to put us in a position to be short of water. So kind of a template item, a regularly occurring thing, and I'm asking for approval of this resolution, and happy to answer any of your questions.
Does anyone have any questions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the resolution is approved. Resolution 3 is to waive the city let's try that again, rewind. Waive the city bid process, APCO 2-824, parentheses 4, as there is no economic benefit, and approve the allocation of $232,845 from account 401-00985-005 to Service for cooling tower repairs to occur on the 2025-26 budget year. Motion, please.
Motion.
Through the chair. I've seen a email that John Lobb sent out to everybody. I almost swallowed my tongue when I seen repair for that amount of money as opposed to replacement. It is for a replacement.
It is for, okay. So the resolution should be amended to
Replacement of the cooling tower.
to state replacement. And now may I have a motion to approve the replacement? Mr. Valerius, motion, and supported by Mr. Barr. Thank you, Mr. Wurtzbacher. Mr. Carr.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. As you see before you, the cooling tower, as Mr. Murray spoke about earlier, is 22 years old. Speaking with Keith from Service, he's their main technician. Him and I work hand in hand with the system every year for startup. And Keith told me that if we look at our system, which is, they put the initial system in, Service did 22 years ago. What he would do is do the cooling tower first, because if one of those pipes goes in the tower, we're done, season over. So he said if funding was available, and as the note you received from Mr. Lobb, that there was some capital funds that were paid for by other avenues, so there's some capital freed up, and the lead time on this is quite substantial, as I mentioned last week, 20 weeks. So, and I know the question was asked, yes, when the system turns on in August, they will come and they will, whenever it's in, they will come in at 5 a.m. and they said we'll be back up and running by 1 p.m. to tear the old one down and put the new one up. they do this all the time. Like, they're the ones do to everybody around here, so, should be relatively quick. And a little backstory on it is that, like, this past season, we were down for over a month with running on one fan. So if the other fan was gone, we were shutting down. So we did get it repaired to finish the season out, but this is very, very crucial for how busy we are. We can't lose it, so.
Chair, this new unit, will this increase they're rated by tons, like a air conditioning unit? Is the tonnage gonna increase with this, or?
It's about the same. The one advantage with this new modern technology, I guess you would say, is we've had a problem when they built this system that the fans on the tower out back right now, they blow outward. So there's moisture in there because it's moving the brine through the system to cool it off before it goes back into the ice floor. And what happens is the water freezes, so the fans lock up, and it shuts the system down. We have to go out there, melt the fans, turn them back on, etc. Yeah, fans blow up. Yeah, fans blow up on the new one, so they don't have that with these new. They don't do that, so we're much better.
Well, you would hope in 22 years they'd make some improvements.
Yes, so they figured out, don't blow it out, we're blow it up.
Are there any other comments or questions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you.
Resolution is approved. And now, because we are going to be going into closed session, we will do our elected officials' comments at this time. For those who may not want to stay around to see how long it takes us to come out of closed session. So this evening, Mr. Estimer is not here, so we will go to Mr. Mizzy.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to recognize the family of Mr. Ron Howell. Those of you who have lived in Allen Park for a long time and graduated around his time will say he was probably one of the best basketball players to ever go through Allen Park High School. So I want to send my best to his family. So with that, thank you all for coming out. God bless you. Good night.
Thank you. Mr. Lloyd.
So first off, I want to start off by saying it's incredibly good to see the Smiths. That's how we know that spring is here, is when we have the Smiths back at council meetings, so that's very nice. And also good to see Mr. Kibbe, who I want to say a extra thank you because, again, it seems like a regular agenda item here where we're approving getting funds from CDBG. So for all that hard work for our citizens and we're all benefiting from it. So good to see you both. Thank you. I just want to make a couple quick comments about the budget. I want to make sure that everybody knows that as an elected official, I certainly do not take lightly the spending of citizens' money, of which, as the mayor pointed out, I am one. It is one of the most serious jobs that we do here at City Council, and it is something that is, as was pointed out by Ms. Kittle, is one of the most important jobs as an elected official, is to be the steward of the funds of our citizens, because that's everything that keeps this thing going. That's what keeps the lights on, the streets paved, police and fire coming down the street, all of those things. It is absolutely vital. As a member of council, this is my 7th budget, and I am by no means an expert. And I'll confess my own ignorance in a number of things regarding finances. I've said many times up here, I'm a history and English teacher. But one of the things that I think that I work a great deal at is by working out and speaking to those with expertise and asking questions. And honestly, one thing that I profit tremendously from is also from the different insights and questions from my fellow council members, which there was many of. I was unfortunately not able to make the last work session because I was coaching my son's soccer league, but a number of good questions through email, and I was able to catch up with Mr. Lobb and ask my own. I just want to say that I think that when we're talking about the budget, again, I don't mean to say $100,000 isn't a big deal and $33 million. What I mean to say is that we're making the plan for the future, and that involves a great deal of work from a great many number of people. Every single one of our department heads individually come in and meet with Mr. Murray and Mr. Lobb, and they spend hours going through and talking about what is the long-term plan and success of the city. What are the things that we need as citizens? And it was, as it was pointed out by Mr. Cheney, one of the things that I think that has been, an oversight for a while is the sweeping up or the plowing of sidewalks for our parks. And seeing where that need is, and then making sure that we have the funds that are necessary that we can address that need. And an important part of that process and why we have this as a public hearing, again, as I think Mr. McGusson very aptly pointed out, is so that we can have these discussions and make sure that we're seeing things that we might not always see. Sitting in my chair from where I'm at, I would have never perceived the suggestion of hiring somebody as an event coordinator as an insult to festivities, but I'm so glad that was brought up. Because again, we don't have access to all 27,000 members or citizens of Allen Park's views and ideas about things, and so I'm so pleased, and I very much appreciate the comments from Ms. Essler and Ms. Kittle and Mr. McGusson that are coming up here and are giving us these ideas, because that's what we want as your elected officials. It's not my job to come up here and to represent my interests. Representative democracy works because we try and as hard as we can to understand what are the things that you as citizens need. And that's what we strive for. So I just want everyone to know that when we are doing this budget, and I mean, every time that I've been a part of budget here at the City of Allen Park, every single time, we make this budget, and then as we go through these individual things throughout the course of the fiscal year, we'll have these conversations. And I'm sure if this comes up within the next fiscal year, there will be many, many, many conversations between this day and if the day ever comes where we're hiring this particular position, where we are going to hammer out the details and we're going to figure out salary and benefits and what the scope of this person's job is and what's the relationship to the festivities and what's the relationship to the DDA and how is this going to fit into our broader plan and how we're going to serve the citizens of Allen Park. This is a tremendous project that government is a tremendous project, and it's not us that are doing it, it's all of us. And if it works well, it's when we're all engaged and we're all having the conversations and we're all treating each other with the goodwill of it. So I am so very appreciative of everybody that got up and spoke today. I am so appreciative of these thoughts. To Ms. Bailey as well, and this is something that I'm glad that, because again, I wasn't at the work session, but the debt is something that is on the minds of everybody. We all have our own personal debt. Well, maybe some of us more than others. But the debt of the city, and I understand that that's a scary thing. And I very much appreciate these comments and keep making sure that these are constantly on our mind. And it's something that again, taking on debt is not something that we take lightly. And when we do it, it's for these projects that we need. Repaving Philomene Road, a fire station, these things that are important to the quality of life of our citizens. So I'm very, very appreciative of everybody that came up and spoke at public comments. It's a necessary part of the democratic process, and I am very much appreciative of it. One last comment, very appreciative of Mr. Redmond that came up here. I'm very excited. Eunice Farrakani was a teacher of mine, and if anyone in the room that's ever met him, he is a character. He is not just an interesting person, but an incredibly funny and affable person, brilliant. So I'm really looking forward to listening to Trevor's podcast. And if I'm correct, I have Trevor on my AP US history class for next year. Is that correct? No? All right. Okay. So maybe if I'll have the good fortune to have him as a student one day as well. So Trevor, thank you so much. Looking forward to the podcast. Thank you all. Hope everybody has a good night.
Thank you. Mr. Wurzbacher.
A lot of good points were brought up by everyone that came up to the podium. And one thing that the mayor did allude to you know, we're all taxpayers too. We pay water bills, we pay our taxes. We get the blunt of it too. Out of everybody up here, I've probably taken a larger hit as far as the taxes goes. When I moved here in 2021, I bought a home. And when that cap came off a year and a half later, it was like surprise. But I was kind of prepared for it because that was not the first home I had ever purchased. In fact, it was like my fourth or fifth. So yeah, I get it. And I've had discussions with Tim, okay, about getting the word out. But it's also up to the realtors too, okay, out of good faith. When it comes to spending money, that's not mine. I'm probably more frivolous and tight with money. That is not mine. I was in business for over 50 years. I started reading spreadsheets when I was 18. I know line by line item, okay? And sometimes I get bored with it. Sometimes I'm a bottom line guy. Don't bore me with this little chicken crap stuff, okay? Show me the meat of it. That's what I want to see. That's what I look at. Since I've become involved in the community and getting to know the department heads through the Allen Park Citizens Civic Fund, you know, they all prided themselves when I would talk to them, when I would start talking to them about the budget and their departments and stuff, that really had nothing to do with what I was doing with that community organization. But they were all proud that they were able to not spend their allotted amount, but if another department needed some money, they had it and they moved it over. You know, to me, that's responsible spending. And I knew right then that these department heads, the ones establishing the budget, and believe me, I've established more budgets than I would care to discuss in over 50 years of my career. I was very, very, very moved and impressed. They come in under budget, and some things are coming back, you know, that the city didn't have before. I noticed it when Martha and I were out for a walk last winter. You know, we walked past a park and the sidewalks aren't shoveled and stuff like that. They didn't have their equipment. They lost it. Emergency manager had to, you know, it was one big giant garage sale. It's coming back. And I mean, it's a game of inches. The mayor has also stated many times that responsible spending, you have to be able to say no. And I get it, okay? Because not only when I was establishing the budget was my employer saying no to some of the items, but as I progressed in my career, I also started saying no. Do you want it? Do you need it? Do you have to have it? Okay? Is this something we can plan for? It goes back to planning. A lot of planning. And there's a lot of thought. A lot of thought process goes into it. Talking about adding like an events person, an events coordinator, okay, or whatever. There's nothing wrong to me with putting it in the budget, but it does not necessarily mean that you're going to be spending that money either. But, you know, Dan Lloyd brought up a very good point. When we needed a deputy treasurer, I mean, you know, we had to go through many discussions and how this was going to work, and getting, you know, HR and getting Tom involved and working with Tim and finding out there was no job description. A job description had to be established. You know, so that's what this is about. It's planning ahead. We don't need to go into a fire drill every time something comes up. It's planning ahead. Make it simple. Back to another note, I'm gonna change gears here. Downtown Development Authority, I think Ben's already left, but I mean, the past couple months, we've had a lot of grand openings. Jerry, you gotta be tired of going to them, okay? But a lot of great things are going in the community. A lot of new businesses being moved in. I know we still have way too many empty buildings in downtown that they can be utilized. It would benefit from everybody. I don't know, sometimes I drive down the street and I see these storefronts that have been empty for years and I just kind of shake my head. My family owned 5 storefronts in Farmington, and my grandfather would have been spinning in his grave, you know, had we not utilized them for the benefit of the community that was so good to him. I would like to also acknowledge the Smiths are back in town, and lo and behold, Saturday and Sunday, it's going to be in the 80s. So thank you. You know, how about coming back in a couple weeks earlier next year? And with that, I yield.
Thank you. Ms. Nick?
First of all, I'd like to give a huge shout out to the Parks and Recs for Teller Park. I saw the dugouts and what bad condition they were in, and these guys got together, and I don't know, Kyle, if you and Evan Taylor or whoever coordinated it, but I saw the pictures where all the guys from Parks and Recs, and they put that roof on that looks great. They painted it. They changed out the boards. They worked really hard. There's a lot of pictures online if you guys want to look at it. And they saved this city $15,000 by doing that. So thank you so much. I greatly appreciate that. Coming this Saturday, there's going to be a plant sale over at the Historical Museum. The late bloomers who've been in our city for like over 40 years, and they take care of the Veterans Memorial up at Champaign. They help with that, the flowers and everything. And they also have been maintaining the Historical Museum, I think, since we've had it. So they really have a really good turnout, so that's going to be over there on this Saturday from 9 to 1. And then, the following Thursday, there's going to be the block party. I had to work, so I didn't get to go, but I did hear a lot of positive things about the block party. That is actually going to be at the Allen Park Library, though, and it seems like it's mostly for children. It's music and magic, and the music lady who's been around Allen Park for a long time is going to be there from 6 to 8, and that's on May 21st. Then I did hear today that there was a child on Brody and Pelham that was on his e-bike, and he got hit by a car last night. I'm hoping he's okay. I haven't heard anything. But these e-bikes, parents, some of them can go up to 40 miles an hour. They need helmets. I know that our police department has put out some rules and different things for parents. I don't know if I'm just thinking, I don't know if we could have some type of class with the police and maybe for kids to come and see like a safety class for these e-bikes. I don't know, just a thought. It's just I don't want to see kids get hurt. I know that they're going in front of cars and swerving and things like that, but I'm just hoping that this young child is okay. And then Trevor, I agree with you. Mr. Farrakani is awesome. My youngest child, when she was in high school, she was his aide, and she would come home with these fabulous stories that he told her. So I'm also looking very forward to your podcast, so thank you for bringing that forward. And with that, I yield.
Thank you. Mr. Valerius?
Just a couple things. Thanks, Mr. Kibbe, coming out tonight, and also for your continued grant writing expertise, bringing funds and grants to our city and only benefiting our residents. Also, congratulations to Officer Patali, Sergeant Wara, Lieutenant Winger, and Firefighter Lynn for combined 35 years of service to Allen Park. Just my public service announcement, with all these construction projects going on in Allen Park, try to be patient, unlike myself, and respectful to other drivers and the construction crews. I work in Woodhaven, so it takes me like 15 minutes to drive from Woodhaven to Southfield, and then it takes me 20 minutes to get from Southfield to my house on Russell Street. So, and if he was, I know he left, but the whole idea with Allen Park, I wanted to tell him, trust me, I know, because I live on Russell, and that's one block over from where they're stopping the construction. So I was really, really happy about that, to know that they were stopping right at my block. I'll just throw this out here. I considered saying it or not, but I do think it's kind of funny how we are accused of being insulting while also being called ignorant and uneducated. Trevor, you are the shining example of why I love being a teacher. So thank you for coming up here, and thank you for everything that you're doing. And as if we don't need to watch out for anything more, there was a black bear sighted in Rockwood on camera. So just keep that in mind. You know, I know we have deer in Allen Park, but who knows? With that, I yield.
Mr. Barr.
Well, everything that's been said up here by my colleagues, I agree. Mr. Wurzbacher, yes, in the last 2 weeks, I've been to 2 of the 3 ribbon cuttings. But I'm glad to see more business as a former small business owner. We're going to do a driver education course 101 right now. The red sign that has 8 sides on it with the letters STOP mean stop. And when clear, then you can go. On Hanford, up by CCOT, and it's even happened on CCOT, people are just blowing through the stop signs. Residential streets are 25 miles an hour, maximum. Drivers are not supposed to pass other cars doing the speed limit on those residential streets. This is going out to the seafoam green Acura that came down Hanford, blew past me, and blew through 3 stop signs. And that includes the one in Lincoln Park. As for Allen Road construction, the speed limit there is 25. It is not 30, 35, or 40 right now. It's been 10 days since Spirit Aviation has closed down. I have noticed a big reduction on air traffic overhead. I really have, because 3 of us are sort of on the edge of a flight path. May 15th, in 3 days, is National Police Officers Memorial Day. In valor, there is hope. Now this is coming from, it's Allen Park related. For those of us that remember when the VA Medical Center was here. I just was notified today, about 2 hours before the meeting started, that one of the VA police lieutenants, Judy Keach, passed away. She retired back in 2002, but since the last council meeting, I've been to 3 different funerals. Finally, the DDA videos of the restaurants. I just saw the one for the Triangle. I'm glad to see those type of videos getting out the message. And thank you to all the citizens who came up, and to all the milestone employment anniversaries. Congratulations, and I yield.
Thank you. Mr. Schleck.
Thank you, Mayor. Sometimes speaking less has its benefits. Sometimes my colleagues have the wonderful privilege of saying a lot of things I would have said already before. In this case, that is the case. But I did want to say, I want to thank all the citizens that did come up here. I think that was more than we've seen in a while. I'm sure Ray was happy to see that, especially that, so he was the only one speaking. I do look forward Trevor, I almost called you Travis. I definitely look forward to hearing your podcast, especially it seems something very interesting to me as a student of history, and definitely looking forward to that. So I definitely need to get that QR code, so I will listen to that. I also want to thank all the department heads and everyone involved that to take hold of the budget. I do feel that putting that together is a lot of hard work, and I know it's been hard work. I mean, I've been part of now, this is budget number 7, I think Mr. Lloyd said. It's crazy to think. So I'm happy that I do feel that we have a lot of work, and I do look forward to more sessions that we'll have regarding the pavilion in the park, or whatever formal name that we'll eventually have that. I think that is crucial and important, especially as we go into more planning phases. And I also wanted to shout out to all the commissioners. I know it's alluded to a few times today, and there's going to be a commissioner dinner tomorrow. But I want to thank you again for all the commissioners for everything you've done, past, present, and for all the work you do. It's tireless, it's hard work, and you do it, as been said time and time again, because you love your city. You're not doing it for any sort of change. So I do appreciate that wholeheartedly. And I know it's been a long meeting already, so I think with that, I did want to mention one more other thing before we meet again. I will be not only Police Memorial Day, but also actual Memorial Day. So as I say every year, to take that day and remember and reflect. It is not Veterans Day. Veterans Day is those who survived. Memorial Day is those who made the ultimate sacrifice. And I feel like I have to say that every year, because Memorial Day is not the day to go up to a veteran and say thank you for your service. This Memorial Day especially is very hard for me, more than some, since it's 20 years since someone that I knew very close to me that unfortunately passed away from a roadside bomb in Iraq. So I just wanted to make special mention of that, but definitely enjoy your time with your family and friends. And with that, I yield, and I know the mayor will say some words before we decide to go in closed session or not. Thank you.
Well, we are going to decide.
Well, still got to vote for it.
I don't think there's very many words left. I do want to give a shout out, because everybody's used them up. I do want to give a shout out to Trevor, however, very impressed. And I know that the teachers up here are very impressed to see someone like you come up and speak as eloquently as you did. And I will definitely be getting a shared QR code. Very much appreciated. There isn't anything to memorialize on my sheet. Mr. Barr, I thank you for the public service announcement, and I would suggest that if you can ever get a license plate on one of those vehicles, to pass it along. I did that one on a red Charger recently, so if it's in the vicinity, they may be looking out for them. It's stopping, like a lot of other things, is a habit. You either develop good habits or you develop bad habits. It's like putting a seatbelt on, and it should be routine. I don't know. I'm sure we've all observed people coming out of a driveway somewhere, A&W or Arby's, and all of a sudden they're putting a seatbelt on. Well, you could have already been rear-ended there. It's like stop signs. I always laugh at the fact that if it's midnight and there's no other cars around, I stop. Make sure all my wheels stop, because it's something that gets ingrained in your brain. And once you start sliding through at midnight, before you know it, you're going to inadvertently slide through at noon. You may not mean to, but your brain's that way. And it's like seatbelts. When my kids were younger, I got a very funny phone call from one of my daughters laughing, saying, "Mom, talking about seatbelts, I want to tell you, all I did was get in the car to move it 1 foot down the driveway, and I had put my seatbelt on." And I thought, good, because you learn something, it becomes a habit. Stopping at stop signs. I had a friend who lived in Tennessee that asked, "Do you folks have that 3-second rule?" 3 second, no, but your wheels all come to a stop, You take that 3 seconds, you look left, you look right, you look left, and maybe you don't get broadsided by somebody who's running a stop sign. And with that, we will end our comments, and I will ask for a motion to go into a closed session for the purpose of labor negotiation with the Allen Park firefighters, IAFF Local 1410, as permitted under MCL 15.268. Motion, please.
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Schlack, second by Ms. Nick. We will take a roll call vote.
Thank you, Madam. Excuse me. Thank you, Madam Mayor. I have a motion by Councilman Schlack, supported by Councilwoman Nick, that shall we convene in the closed session for the purpose of labor negotiation with the Elm Park firefighters, IAFF Local 1410, as permitted under MCL 15.268C. Shall we convene? Councilman Barr?
Yes.
Councilman Nick?
Yes.
Councilman Lloyd?
Yes.
Mayor McLeod?
Yes.
Councilman Schlack?
Yes.
Councilman Valeris? Yes. And Councilman Wurzbacher?
Yes.
The yeses have it, we shall convene.
Okay, that's 8:11 PM. We are going to close session.